Fall of Civilizations, Stories of Greatness and Decline by Paul Cooper is an inspiring and reflective look at the rise and fall of some of history's most remarkable civilizations. Cooper's approach to history is both broad and deep, providing a high-level overview of the major events and trends that shaped these civilizations, while also delving into the details of everyday life, from the foods they ate to the gods they worshipped. Through meticulous research and engaging narrative, Cooper paints a vivid picture of these ancient societies, shedding light on their complex political systems, religious beliefs, and technological achievements, while also examining the factors that led to their eventual collapse. The Sumerians were one of the earliest civilizations to emerge in ancient Mesopotamia. Despite the mysteries surrounding their origins, the Sumerians achieved remarkable feats of engineering, architecture, and social organization. They built impressive cities such as Uruk and Ur, which were centered around grand temples and ziggurats. The Sumerians also developed advanced technologies such as the pottery wheel, the wagon wheel, the plow, and the sailboat, and they were skilled mathematicians and accountants. One of the most significant achievements of the Sumerians was the development of a complex system of writing known as cuneiform. This system allowed the Sumerians to record everything from business transactions to epic poetry, marking a turning point in human history. However, the Sumerian civilization also faced numerous challenges, such as the salinization of their soil due to intensive irrigation practices and the constant threat of invasion from neighboring peoples. Despite these challenges, the Sumerians managed to maintain their civilization for nearly 2,000 years before their eventual decline. The Late Bronze Age collapse, which occurred between 1200 and 1150 BCE, was a period of widespread destruction and upheaval in the eastern Mediterranean. This collapse affected a wide range of civilizations, from the Hittites in Anatolia to the Mycenaeans in Greece to the Egyptians in the Nile Delta. Cooper examines the various theories surrounding the causes of this collapse, including climate change, invasions by the mysterious sea peoples, and the breakdown of trade networks. The effects of the Late Bronze Age collapse were devastating, with cities like Hattusa and Ugarit destroyed and abandoned, and the Mycenaean civilization in Greece collapsing, leading to a period of cultural and economic decline known as the Greek Dark Ages. Even the mighty Egyptian Empire was not immune to the effects of the collapse, with the reign of Ramesses III marked by a series of military campaigns and the construction of massive fortifications along the Nile Delta. The rise and fall of the Assyrian Empire is another fascinating chapter in the book. The Assyrians were a Semitic people who spoke a language related to Hebrew and Arabic, and they first rose to prominence in the 14th century BCE. Under the reign of skilled military leaders like Tiglath-Pileser I and Ashurnasirpal II, the Assyrian Empire expanded its borders and asserted its dominance over neighboring states. The Assyrians developed a sophisticated military machine, with a standing army of professional soldiers and a network of roads and fortifications that allowed them to quickly deploy troops to any part of the empire. They also made use of advanced weapons and tactics, such as iron weapons, cavalry, and siege engines. However, the Assyrian Empire was not without its weaknesses, facing frequent revolts and uprisings from its subject peoples and challenges from external threats like the Babylonians and the Medes. The reign of Ashurbanipal marked the height of Assyrian power and cultural achievement, with the king assembling a vast library of clay tablets at his capital of Nineveh. However, after his death, the empire was beset by a series of internal conflicts and external invasions, culminating in the capture and sacking of Nineveh by the Medes and Babylonians in 612 BCE. The story of Carthage is one of the most dramatic in the book. Founded by Phoenician settlers in the 9th century BCE, Carthage grew to become a powerful maritime empire that rivaled Rome for control of the Mediterranean. Carthage's rise to power was fueled by its strategic location and its control over key trade routes, and under the leadership of capable rulers, it expanded its territory and influence throughout the western Mediterranean. However, Carthage's rise brought it into conflict with Rome, leading to the Punic Wars, one of the most epic struggles in ancient history. The first two Punic Wars ended in Roman victories, with Carthage forced to give up territories and pay massive indemnities. The third and final Punic War saw Rome launch a massive invasion of North Africa and lay siege to Carthage itself. Despite fierce resistance, the city fell to the Romans in 146 BCE, with the Romans destroying it completely and sowing salt into the earth to ensure that nothing would ever grow there again. Cooper also examines the controversial practice of child sacrifice in Carthage, which was used as propaganda by the Romans to justify their destruction of the city. While the evidence for this practice is mixed, the destruction of Carthage remains one of the most tragic and controversial events in ancient history, raising questions about the nature of imperialism, the use of propaganda in warfare, and the lengths to which societies will go to eliminate their rivals. The rise and fall of the Han Dynasty in China is another fascinating chapter in the book. The Han Dynasty emerged from the chaos of the Warring States period, with Liu Bang founding the dynasty in 202 BCE. Under the Han emperors, China underwent a period of great expansion and consolidation, with the empire's borders pushed outwards and the famous Silk Road established, facilitating the exchange of goods, ideas, and cultures across Eurasia. The Han Dynasty also saw significant advances in science, technology, and the arts, with inventions like paper, the compass, and gunpowder all having their origins in this period. However, the Han Dynasty was not without its challenges and internal conflicts, with the empire beset by succession crises, power struggles, and external threats from nomadic peoples on its northern and western borders. Perhaps the most significant factor in the decline of the Han Dynasty was the growing power and influence of the landed aristocracy, who accumulated vast tracts of land and huge numbers of peasant tenants, effectively creating a parallel power structure to the imperial government. As the power of the central government waned, regional warlords and governors began to assert their independence, leading to a period of fragmentation and civil war known as the Three Kingdoms period. The story of Roman Britain is another compelling chapter in the book, tracing the history of Roman rule on the island from the initial conquest by Claudius in 43 CE to the eventual withdrawal of Roman troops in 410 CE. The Roman conquest of Britain was a gradual process, with Roman legions pushing further north and west over several decades, establishing control over much of the island. However, Roman rule in Britain was not always stable or peaceful, with the island beset by periodic rebellions and invasions, particularly from the Picts and Scots in the north and the Saxons and other Germanic tribes from across the North Sea. The Romans built a series of defensive fortifications, such as Hadrian's Wall and the Antonine Wall, to protect their territory from these threats. As the Roman Empire began to decline in the 4th century CE, its hold on Britain became increasingly tenuous, with the island repeatedly stripped of troops and resources to defend other parts of the empire. The withdrawal of the Romans from Britain in 410 CE led to a period of instability and conflict, with rival warlords and kingdoms vying for control. The Anglo-Saxon invasions of the 5th and 6th centuries CE would eventually lead to the establishment of a series of Germanic kingdoms in England, while the Celtic peoples of Wales, Scotland, and Ireland maintained their own distinct cultural traditions. Later in the book, Cooper explores the stories of the Aztecs, the Inca, and the people of Easter Island. The Aztec civilization emerged in the Valley of Mexico around 1325 CE, with a group of nomadic people settling on an island in Lake Texcoco and founding the city of Tenochtitlan. Over the next 2 centuries, the Aztecs would build a vast empire that stretched across central Mexico, dominating the region through military conquest, political alliances, and a complex system of tribute and trade. At its height, Tenochtitlan was a bustling metropolis with a population of over 200,000, with impressive engineering feats like a vast network of aqueducts and dams, and magnificent temples, palaces, and public spaces adorned with intricate sculptures and colorful murals. However, the Aztec society was also characterized by its militaristic nature and the practice of human sacrifice, with the Aztecs believing that the sun god Huitzilopochtli required human hearts to continue his daily journey across the sky. The arrival of the Spanish conquistador Hernán Cortés in 1519 marked the beginning of the end for the Aztec Empire. Despite initial welcome from the Aztec Emperor Moctezuma II, tensions quickly escalated, and Cortés, with the help of indigenous allies who resented Aztec rule, laid siege to Tenochtitlan. The Aztecs were eventually overwhelmed by the Spanish forces, who had superior weapons and armor, as well as the devastating impact of European diseases like smallpox. The fall of Tenochtitlan in 1521 and the death of the last Aztec emperor signaled the end of the Aztec civilization, with the Spanish destroying much of the city, building a new capital, and systematically eradicating Aztec culture in the following decades. The Inca Empire, which flourished in the Andes Mountains of South America from the 13th to the 16th centuries, was the largest pre-Columbian civilization in the Americas. The Inca built an extensive network of roads, bridges, and terraces that allowed them to control a vast territory stretching over 2,500 miles along the western coast of South America. They also developed sophisticated agricultural techniques and a highly organized and centralized society with a complex system of labor and resource distribution known as the meticulous. The Inca religion revolved around the worship of the sun god Inti, with the Inca king, known as the Sapa Inca, believed to be the living embodiment of Inti on earth. The arrival of the Spanish conquistador Francisco Pizarro in 1532 coincided with a period of political instability in the Inca Empire, with the death of the Sapa Inca Huayna Capac and the subsequent struggle for power between his sons, leaving the empire divided and vulnerable. Pizarro, with a small force of just 168 men, was able to capture Atahualpa at the Battle of Cajamarca. Despite receiving a massive ransom of gold and silver for Atahualpa's release, Pizarro executed the Inca king, effectively decapitating the Inca leadership. In the following years, the Spanish would systematically conquer the Inca Empire, aided by the spread of European diseases and the collaboration of indigenous groups who sought to overthrow Inca rule. The last Inca stronghold, Vilcabamba, fell to the Spanish in 1572, marking the end of the Inca civilization. Easter Island, also known as Rapa Nui, is a remote island in the South Pacific famous for its massive stone statues, known as moai. The island was first settled around 1200 CE by Polynesian voyagers who found an island rich in resources and developed a complex society and a unique culture centered around the construction and worship of the moai. The traditional narrative of Easter Island's history suggests that the islanders' obsession with statue building led to the deforestation of the island, with the ecological collapse that followed, combined with overpopulation and resource depletion, leading to a period of warfare, starvation, and societal collapse. However, recent research has challenged this narrative, suggesting that the deforestation of the island was a more gradual process driven primarily by agricultural practices, and that the Rapa Nui people adapted to the changing environment by developing innovative farming techniques. The real collapse of Easter Island society, according to this revised narrative, occurred after European contact in the 18th century, with the introduction of European diseases, slave raids, and the annexation of the island by Chile in 1888, leading to the decimation of the population and the loss of much of their cultural heritage. Today, Easter Island remains a subject of fascination and mystery, with recent research shedding light on the complex and resilient society that once thrived on this remote outpost in the Pacific. Throughout the book, Cooper emphasizes several key themes and lessons that can be drawn from the rise and fall of these ancient civilizations. One of the most important lessons is the role of environmental factors in the collapse of civilizations, from the salinization of Sumerian soil to the droughts that plagued the Late Bronze Age. These challenges are not unique to the past, and modern societies must also grapple with the consequences of climate change, resource depletion, and other environmental pressures. Another key takeaway is the importance of social and political institutions in the resilience of civilizations, with societies with strong, adaptable institutions better able to weather external shocks and challenges than those with weak or inflexible ones. Cooper also highlights the role of trade and economic integration in the rise and fall of civilizations, with the success of many ancient empires built on their ability to control and exploit trade routes and resources, but also making them vulnerable to external shocks. Finally, Cooper emphasizes the cyclical nature of history and the enduring legacy of ancient civilizations, with the cultural, artistic, and intellectual achievements of these societies often enduring long after their political power has waned. The influence of ancient Greece and Rome, for example, can still be seen in the art, literature, and political traditions of the modern world, while the legacy of ancient China continues to shape the country's culture and identity to this day. The rise and fall of civilizations is often a complex process, influenced by a combination of internal and external factors, such as environmental changes, political instability, and foreign invasions. The stories of the Aztecs, Inca, and Rapa Nui civilizations illustrate the diverse ways in which these factors can interact to shape the trajectory of human societies. In conclusion, Fall of Civilizations, Stories of Greatness and Decline, is a masterful work of historical storytelling that brings the ancient world to life in vivid detail. Through a combination of archaeological evidence, historical records, and mythological tales, Cooper weaves a compelling narrative of the rise and fall of some of the world's greatest civilizations, from the Sumerians and Assyrians to the Aztecs and Inca. The book is not just a collection of isolated stories, but a meditation on the nature of human civilization itself, examining the common patterns and challenges faced by societies across time and space. By delving into the political, religious, and technological aspects of these ancient cultures and examining the ways in which they adapted to and were transformed by their environments and external pressures, Cooper challenges traditional assumptions and offers new insights into the resilience and fragility of human civilizations. Perhaps the most important lesson of the book is that no civilization, no matter how great or powerful, is immune to the forces of history. From the collapse of the Sumerian city-states to the fall of the Roman Empire, the stories in this book serve as a reminder of the fragility of human societies and the need for constant adaptation and resilience in the face of change.